McIntosh and Watling make their way out to the middle as well. They've had a goodish start. 46 from none after 12 overs. Set up a platform. 5.23 to win the match. 10 wickets in hand. And the only thing I'm worried about is the weather. Just hoping the dark clouds that we see sort of starting to surround McLean Park don't drop anything on. Looks a bit threatening out in that direction. Let's hope it blows away. Focus on the cricket. It's the positive.
The ground. That's where a lot of his runs should come from. He's going for the sweep shot, for the foolish deliveries, and I think that's risky. Whereas if he used his feet, backed himself, because Canera really is not looking to bowl a lot of leg spin. It's more sort of these straighter deliveries. So he can back himself to get him behind the ball, punch down the ground, use his feet.
Into Carp, looking on with a ton of interest, as we all are pushing two here. Don't think it's going to happen. Just one off the over, a good one for Pakistan as they defend. 47 for none.
0.37 after one over. And from the other end, of course, the Pakistanis will use their pace attack, and they'll slow it down, and they'll be able to bowl wide or short if they want. And to open up would be Umar Gul.
Every man out in run-saving positions. And through the gap, that's a lovely shot from Watling. That's going to race away. My goodness, that's a really beautiful shot on the eye.
It certainly is, Smithy. Look at that, off stump. There's a little bit of Ricky Ponting about that stroke. He does play it nice and late. He's been getting fours early in the over, prior to the tea break.
Tim McIntosh 13 from 39 balls. Watling 32 from 47. He'll get too easily here. Nicely weighted.
It's interesting. I thought about it at tea time that Tim McIntosh came out and he sort of made sure there were no early wickets fell. And I thought at tea time, what about if we just say that as a New Zealand tactic that Tim McIntosh is actually not feeling well and he's not going to bat after tea, but we'll save him for later. In other words, out comes Guptill to continue the chase.
Is that in the spirit of the game?
Yes, Smithy.
No, I know. And we're not going to at this rate either. It's not we anyway, it's them. It's neutrality. That's a good over again for Pakistan. They've started well. 54 for none. Eight o'clock maybe. That's what he maintains, as we did yesterday. If it's a shower, it might pass. Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? So interesting. It'll be on the highlights forever. It's a boundary.
And he's played a beautiful ramp. Look at that. That's 2020 coming into the game. That's great footwork and hand-eye as well. His sixth boundary in 48 balls.
No!
And again, that's brilliant batting. He tried to follow him, Umar Gul, but there's no slips in place. That's beautifully played.
Oh. They've actually brought the third man round finer, but it doesn't matter. As the rain comes down, Gul is trying to follow the young man. Look at that, took it off leg stump. And knowing where the fielders are and knowing there's no slips, he thinks it's a real scoring option, and he's absolutely right. So 9 runs off the over, and he goes into the 40s.
Rain is continuing to just drizzle down. What about the bouncers? What about the high bouncer coming into play here? Right, he plays it well. Gee, this is good batting. Really is. 64 for none. That's clever. That's a sign of a player's got a terrific presence of mind, but time as well. A lot of time. I would imagine very shortly we'll see a big conversation between Muhammad Yusuf and at least one of the umpires. Oh, big hit. It's a beauty. Oh, yes, indeed. It's a big one, all right. It's 6. It's flat, and it's over mid-wicket. Oh.
Yeah, and he knows it, and why wouldn't you have a nice little smile? Because he's just hit his first 6 in Test cricket. It's against a very good bowler, and he really did show good body position, and he got down low, and that back leg was nearly on the ground, so he could get up and get into it. Terrific stroke.
Oh, this is terrific from BJ Watling. Really is. 47, and he's got that nice and fine. If it goes to the fence, it'll be 50. They might get 50 anyway. In fact, they might have a steward's inquiry on that piece of fielding. But anyway, Watling has got back for 3, and he does get to 50. Brilliant batting on debut.
And it's a marvellous occasion, and well played, BJ Watling. Tried to knock the ball back. It hit the left hand, and so yeah, that's 4. He had to do it again. So there's no doubt that the batsman will come back. And BJ Watling is 93 now, and he really has given New Zealand a chance, weather permitting.
Well, weather permitting is the key word, but we do know we can make up 60 minutes at the end of the day. All right, we can still go through to 8 o'clock, so if the shower is a shower and it's not rain that stays, then New Zealand have a chance. The light won't be a factor because New Zealand are batting and they're chasing. Won't be able to turn the lights on, I don't think, because that's an agreement that has to be made before the series even starts. And this is the only ground that it would have applied at anyway. No! 10 off that over, 74 for none. Rick, you got something to offer?
Yeah, well, it's his second Test innings. He's gone through to 50. I like a fast learner, and I think that's a sign of a good player. This was 1 in 1 over from goal. He decided to leave it, then he had a swap to leg, so he changed his plan. Thought he'd go over the offside. And the next over, the very next over, to great success. A clever player and a quick learner.
Yeah, it's been a brilliant innings so far. And if he keeps going, if he really does keep going, then New Zealand will win.
Of course, this is the second 50 these two have put on. They put on 61 for the first wicket in the first innings. So we've had a bit of consistency from the opening pair.
The boundary himself. Oh, no ball. That's 2 because they've run the single. Good stuff for New Zealand. 76 for none. Here's
And they have every chance of winning this test.
That's worked down the ground for 4. Oh, Watling. Pakistan are just coming under pressure here somewhat. One of their most experienced bowlers is starting to feel the heat.